Have you ever wondered how close you really are to becoming someone you wouldn't recognize? Not in a dramatic movie villain way, but in small, silent decisions, the ones that creep past your conscience unnoticed, the ones that don't make headlines, but define who you are when no one's watching. Imagine this. You're pouring your morning coffee, birds chirping outside, notifications buzzing on your phone, and then life shifts, the rules blur. You're in a world where kindness has no currency and cruelty earns rewards. Would you still act the way you believe you would? That question is the heart of the Lucifer effect, a haunting exploration by psychologist Philip Zimbardo. It doesn't just ask, why do good people do bad things? It forces us to ask, what if you could? Uncomfortable? You should be. You probably think of yourself as decent, polite, honest, the kind of person who holds the door open or tips their barista. But ask yourself, have you ever lied to avoid trouble? Clicked accept without reading the terms? Kept quiet when someone was mistreated just to keep the peace? It starts there. Tiny compromises that build silently until something fundamental shifts. Zimbardo argues that evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers. And the scariest part? It often sounds like you. Ivan Frederick, a father, a soldier, a guy who liked baseball. He didn't wake up evil. But after being stationed at Abu Ghraib, something inside him cracked. He didn't arrive a monster. But the uniform, the orders, the environment, they reshaped him. Because no one is immune to pressure when it wears the mask of duty. Zimbardo calls this the power of the situation. We like to think of morality as solid, like stone. But in reality, it's more like water, shaped by the container it's poured into. Change the environment, and you just might change the person. You're part of an experiment. You're told to deliver electric shocks to someone you can't see, but you can hear. Their screams cut through the walls. They beg. They sob. But the man in the lab coat says it's essential that you continue. So, you do. In Stanley Milgram's real-life study, nearly 2/3 of participants obeyed. They believed they were harming someone, maybe even killing them. But they followed orders. Not out of hatred, but because an authority figure said so. Zimbardo didn't just study this, he lived it. In 1971, he ran the infamous Stanford prison experiment. 24 students, randomly assigned to play either guards or prisoners. No real crime, no real danger, just a psychological game. Within days, those playing guards grew cruel, mocking, isolating. Breaking the spirit of their peers, Zimbardo had to shut it down in under a week. Because good kids turned into tormentors. What drives this? At its root, obedience. The urge to conform, to fit, to avoid standing alone. Whether in a laboratory or a military camp, or even an online forum, we follow the voice that tells us what's normal, even when normal is quietly horrifying. But authority isn't the only factor. There's a darker fuel, anonymity. When names disappear, so does responsibility. Zimbardo called it de-individuation. That's why mobs wear masks, why trolls flood comment sections, why cruelty surges when faces vanish. When no one knows it's you, you can become someone else entirely. And that person might shock you. Zimbardo tested this too. He left a car abandoned in 2 different cities. In one, it was destroyed within hours. In the other, left alone for days. The difference? In one place, people felt invisible. In the other, they felt watched. And then, the final switch, dehumanization. Want to hurt someone. First, stop calling them a person. Use words like animals, criminals, them. History is drenched in blood, spilled by those who renamed their victims before attacking. Because it's easier to crush an idea then look a human in the eye while doing it. So, who are you? Not in comfort, not in routine, but in chaos, in pressure, in fear. We all like to think we'd stand strong, but Zimbardo shows us that the ground beneath our values can shift. Fast. The Lucifer effect isn't about villains, it's about us, and what we might become if the situation called for it. If this made you pause, good. That's the first step to staying aware. Subscribe for more explorations of human nature, psychology, and philosophy. And remember, the line between good and evil often runs straight through the human heart